Okay, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at what's called the Content Center. And the Content Center is simply a library that has commercial parts already created, and you use those to place them in your assembly. So quite the time saver as far as that goes. So the first thing we're going to do is put in some socket head cap screws. And to do that, make sure you don't have anything over here clicked on. If you click something on and you right click, you get a whole different pop-up menu than if you click off of everything, right click, and note now we've got something called Place from Content Center. And we'll go ahead and load up the Content Center. Now it may take a minute for it to load up. We'll go in now, and we're in fasteners right now. We've got other features that we can deal with. We've got structural shapes, sheet metal, different components that go in sheet metal, shaft components. Might be good when you're working in your shaft design project for Machine Design 1. So that definitely would have some things that you might need, and it might be very useful when you do your project in Project 1 and 2. So you can see there are different types of bearings, and you know, it cuts it right down to it. It creates an assembly. So keep that in mind when you're working on these, when you're working on your projects. Right now what we need is a hex cap screw. The one we want is right here, hexagon socket head cap screw, inch. If you double click that with your left mouse button, it'll pop up a window here that actually has some inputs. Hopefully. We've had problems once already, so let's see if we can keep things going here. Okay, there's my socket head cap screws. And I need, in this case, I know I need a 5/16, a unified national course. That's a 5/16 18. Otherwise, a fine would be a 5/16 24. And then I'm going to put a bogus length in here of 7/8. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm going to put both these screws in. I'm going to put them over there, right click, and done. So the reason I'm doing that is I know that I need 1 1/4 inches, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in a little bit short so that you can see how easy it is to make the changes to them. So the next thing I would do probably, well, I got two options. I'm going to change the color, and we'll go to occurrence, and I'll make that green just like it was in the other drawing. And that's, I just went over and found it in the browser, right click, iProperties, occurrence, material, and green. You don't have to use green, that's just what I'm using. Trying to keep it consistent here. Okay, then I'll go ahead and place those. Now there is a thing called eye mates, but I'm not a big fan of these eye mates. I've got an insert there, and that might be a good one. I might go ahead and use that somewhere along the way here. Okay, and then we've got a line and a line 2D. So we might do that on the next one. Okay, so I'm going to go in there and constrain using an insert, and I want this face here and that one there. Got that. I'll hit apply. Do the same thing on the other side here, and okay. Now if we rotate that around there, you see that they just barely stick out. So with that being the case, we've got to do a little work. First thing I'm going to do is hit save. Okay, from there then, I'm going to go in and go to these two and change them. Notice it says it's 5/16 18 and it's 7/8 long. I still don't really know how long I need to make that. I do, personally, I know I need 1 1/4 inches, but I don't have my nut and bolt in there. Or excuse me, my nut and washer. So that might be a little bit of an issue. Okay, so now the other option would be, I guess, to to go ahead and put the nut and the washer in there, and then we could see where we needed them. So let's just do that. Right click, place from content center, and instead of bolts now we need nuts. We just want a hex nut. We could use a hex flanged, but we'll just use a regular hex nut. Now these are jam nuts, are used when you have to put two nuts together to make sure that it locks in place. We just want a hex flat nut, inch. So we'll double click that. We want oh, let's see, what do we got there? That's something's wrong there. That hex flat nut. We don't need the heavy hex, and we don't need the thick. Let's check the machine screw. Oh, here we go. Here's hex nut inch. There we go. We need a 5/16 UNC. There is no length on that nut, and we'll put in 2 of them. Right click and done. We also need to place from the content center some washers, and we just need the plane, and it's a circular washer, inch. Double click, 5/16, and we'll put in 2 of those. Now, I don't remember what color I made these over here. Let's see if we can rotate them around here and get something on it. Looks like we used yellow. So we'll make these yellow. What the heck? Eye properties, currents, yellow. Right, oops, I didn't get it. Right click, eye properties, currents, Y for yellow. Okay. Now then, we could go ahead and place those. Again, constraint, insert this face here and that face. We go to this one and that one. Then we'll go this one, that one. And we'll go here and there. Okay, so those are both located in place. Now they still will spin. But now we could actually go in there now, rotate this around and see just how much we need, couldn't we? It'll be tricky, but we should be able to do it. Let's see. Let's go to Tools, Distance, and we gotta grab that face. We gotta make sure we get the right face is the problem. That face to that face, and it looks like it needs to go another 284 or 0.284. So if we go to our calculator, we know we had 0.875 plus what was it, 284. So we got more than 1 1/4 inches. Excuse me, more than 1 1/8 inches, but not 1 1/4 inches. So we'll go to 1 1/4 inches, and you'll see the list here in just a minute, and it'll make sense then as far as that goes. Okay, so we'll go back down here to the hex socket head cap screw. Right click, change size up at the top. And this takes a second. And we've got 5/16. Now here's our, well, we couldn't even go 1/8. It's 1 inch and it goes up to 1 1/4 inches. Okay, and we'll hit OK. And there you can see we now have one that we get that. You have to have what's called the full nut on that thread. You have to get this full nut, the full engagement of that screw through that nut. So 1 1/4 inches worked just fine, so we'll go to the second one. Right click, change the size. Should come up a little quicker this time. 1 1/4 inches on the nominal length. Okay. And there you go. Now, the one thing I failed to note, when you're talking about how long that thing is, it's the distance from where this head meets the fork out to the end of your threads. That's where the 1¼ inch comes from. So if you need to know, that's what's going on there. Now on our drawing, we have 2 other bolts here, socket head cap screws. They're both 5/16 diameter. So we'll right click, place from content center, hex socket head again, and they're 5/16, and I believe, let's see, 5/16, and I believe they're still Unified National Course. And what the heck, we'll make this one, I believe it's 7/8, and okay. And there's 1 and there's 2. And again, if you want to make them different colors, I think they used red on the last one here. And we'll go here and get this one. They wouldn't both have to be the same color necessarily. Okay, and then we'll insert them. Back to our assembly, constraint, and you have to go to insert. Mate is the default. Insert, boom, boom. And then we'll go here and get this one and that one. So you don't have to actually be where you can see it really well. You can go through the part. And there you can see we're just about through the edge. Now that's probably a little bit more than what I had on this one. Notice that one didn't go through very far. Barely goes through as far as that goes. So I think we're better off, the more engagement you get there, the better off you are. So I think we're going to leave it like that. Then we've got one more set down here on the bottom here, and I don't remember exactly how long that is, but we can surely figure that out if we go in there and measure again from this face and rotate that over to that point. It's a 1/2 inch. And if we rotate that around, you can see that that's the length that we're getting. So we don't want to go any more than a 1/2 inch in that case, because we don't want the thread popping up out of the into these ridges. So we'll right click, place from content center. Oh, and by the way, these are 1/4 inch. If you don't have the drawing in that case, what you're going to have to do is go to this part right here, right click, open. There's your part, and you can go to the extrusion and do an edit sketch. Oh, you know what? That's not what I wanted. You wanted to go to the hole, edit the feature, and you can find out that it's 1/4 20. And that's all you need that for, so close it. You don't have to save it. So it's 1/4 20, and we know it doesn't need to be any more than a 1/2 inch long. Place from content center, hex cap screw, and we'll go 1/4 20. And we said no more than a 1/2 inch. Let's go 7/16 and see what it does. Don't like as long as that's taken. There's 1, 2. Okay, now we can move that out a little bit. Let's right click on that. Oh shoot, I didn't need to do that. I wanted to right click. Eye properties, I didn't go on far enough. And we'll change that to, what do you think? Magenta. Same thing on this one. Magenta. Okay, now let's zoom out here a little bit, and we'll move these down. Oh, let's see. Let's see if we can. Okay, we'll go ahead then and rotate this around so we can see what's going on there. And we'll go ahead and constrain it. And again, insert. Apply that. And insert this one. Now be careful. Let me cancel that last one. Be careful there. Because if you pick, when you constrain this, you pick this and then you get one of those inside, realize you're actually interfering with the original base. So that wouldn't be good. So that's probably that cap screw right there. There's your insert. Delete that. And we'll pull it back out. And we'll go ahead and create a constraint. Insert. Hopefully I got the, and I must not have gotten the right one. Let's cancel that, do it again. And we're like that. Now the bolt can still move, the head of that screw can move. Okay, and that's fine, and just like these can up here. We want that to still spin, but we don't want it to come off of the face there. So that pretty much wraps that up as far as that goes. That's what we're going to use that functionality for. Now again, we can put other things in from the content center. We just don't need them in this particular example. Rivets, I mean there's just all kinds of fasteners, and like I said, there are other parts there, and tubes and pipes, fittings. Need some fittings for piping, so it's kind of a handy little, there's some really neat features here. The round tubes probably might be one of your best, especially when we start talking to project class. So just keep that in mind. And basically then this thing is done as far as that goes. I think we'll just stop this video here, and then we'll go from there.